So today we have 8 brand new Xbox Game Pass games for August, and the new October games are starting to shape up, guys. Let's start with what we saw as a rumor a week ago come to light with Immortals Fenyx Rising. Set in a mythical world of the Greek gods, Immortals Fenyx Rising puts you in the shoes of a mortal who embarks on a wild journey to rescue his brother from the evil Typhon and save the Greek gods of old as you're their last hope. The game features a gorgeous fantasy world, an immersive story with great narration, thrilling combat with some of the most epic boss fights that honestly reminded me of encounters you would see in a massive multiplayer online game. There's also tons of puzzles you're going to be tackling throughout the game, lots of exploring, and the player is free to customize the character in any way he or she likes, so there's a lot to play around with in order to make the character you love. The game features a ton of different weapons, from the bows and arrows to deadly swords you'll encounter. Honestly, this is one of the better Ubisoft games of the last couple years, and it's chock full of content. This hits Game Pass later this month on the cloud, consoles, and PC. So Coffee Talk is a unique title all about conversation and having those heart-to-heart talks with people from an alternative Seattle, where you're going to notice the city's full of elves, orcs, mermaids, and other fantasy characters living within humans in today's world. You'll have those meaningful conversations over the course of a cup of coffee as you immerse yourself in the people's story, and those stories can range from love to extremely dramatic and maybe even scandalous. The game does have branching storylines spread across it, so there's really a lot to dive into if this is a game that has your interest. This is available on Game Pass now on the consoles, cloud, and PC. So Midnight Fight Express is an isometric beat-em-up title where you play as a former member of the criminal world, lured back into the world by an AI drone who tells you if you don't stop the mayhem, the whole city is going to have a criminal-wide takeover. It's really a crazy story, but the game's gameplay and combat looks intense. It looks amazing here, guys. It's featuring some really crazy cool martial arts animations, some very visceral over-the-top combos that look super deadly. Then you mix in the vast array of items you can use, like guns, explosives, knives, sledgehammers, and honestly speaking, this game seems like something you'd see in an over-the-top action movie. Midnight Fight Express also features 41 handcrafted levels, extra challenges after you beat the game, and you can even create your own director's cut that lets you customize the enemy's weapons and more. This is a game that I've really had on my radar for a long time. I'll be personally playing it day one on Game Pass on August 23rd, and it comes out for the consoles, cloud, and PC. So in Exapunks, the year is 1997. You used to be a hacker, but now you made the deal of a lifetime with one hack, one dose, and nothing left to lose but your life. If you're familiar with the game that just released recently on Game Pass, Shenzhen.io, this game is from the same makers, and while in Exapunks it's all about the open-ended puzzles. You'll program your X's to tear through networks, replicate themselves, trash files, and terminate other X's. You'll be hacking everything from banks, universities, and more, and if you're someone who's really big into puzzle games, I think this might be your jam, as it drops on PC on August 25th. So Opus Echo of Starsong is a game that puts you in the shoes of Jun, who sets to redeem himself until he saves Edda, a witch with a unique power of picking up the sounds of asteroids. The game is set in an intergalactic world that has you exploring asteroids in search of locating temples deep within them to find the Starsong source. The game's main premise is its story, and all the encounters you're going to have throughout it as you venture out to find the mystery of these Starsongs. Meanwhile, you'll be engaging with a huge cast of colorful characters whose personal stories you're going to be diving really deep into. The game is fully voiced, and if you're into story-based titles and having those emotional experiences, Opus Echo of Starsong might be a game to explore as it hits Game Pass on August 25th on consoles and PC. Commandos 3 HD Remastered is the remastered version of the old-school Commando titles from 2003 that sends you to the relentless and unforgiving battlefields of Europe as you fight your way through Stalingrad and defeat the German enemy in the heart of the Third Reich in Berlin in World War II. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this series, you control 6 different commandos, from the sniper, the driver, the spy, the green beret, and the sapper, and you strategically put them in place to complete and finish their missions with their unique abilities. Now, this HD remastered comes in the form of new 3D models, new textures built from the ground up, improved controls, and a much beginner-friendly tutorial and UI to really help you navigate this old-school title. This looks like it's a day one release for Xbox Game Pass, and it will will be available on the consoles, cloud, and PC on August 30th. So from the creators of the game Her Story, we have Immortality. This is an interactive story that has you solving the mystery of what's happened to Marissa Marcel, a film star who made movies, but they never saw a release, and she then suddenly disappeared. The gameplay here is pretty simple, guys. You're going to be going through lots of footage, trying to essentially come to a conclusion on the mystery and solve the case. Now, if you're a fan of storytelling and you like movies, but you rather like solving them yourself, or you have a preference for that, then I think Immortality will be for you when it hits Game Pass on August 30th on the consoles, cloud, and PC. So if you're familiar, or if you've ever played the game Pikmin, I think you're going to be right at home with Tinykin as you play as Milo, who arrives on Earth only to find he's way too small, and he's in 1991 of all years. But the big premise of this game is catching hundreds of mysterious Tinykin, in which then you're going to leverage their unique powers to do things like make ladders, create bridges, explosions, and a lot more. The game's idea of being this like super small dude in this giant 1990s world is very mysterious, and it certainly has me intrigued. Then you mix in the pretty cool, vibrant, and over-the-top environments, and then the clever puzzles that this game has to offer, and honestly, it feels like this is a title to really get excited for on Game Pass, especially when it hits on August 30th for the consoles and PC. And that pretty much rounds up all the August games, guys, for Game Pass. But guys, we have some new exciting titles, including day one games on Game Pass this upcoming September. And our first game is Disney's Dreamlight Valley. Now, if you're a fan of Disney movies, really think you're going to fall in love with this one. This is a life sim adventure title, and the game's chock full of features and adventures that you'll be basically embarking on. You're going to have lots of exploration, lots of puzzles, and lots of things to do. Think of a game like Animal Crossing meeting Kingdom Hearts. And of course, the awesome part about this is that you get to go around the world meeting your favorite Disney characters, choosing your own activities while engaging with all those characters like Mickey, Goofy, and even Wally. There's really a lot this game has to offer, and it's got a lot going on, and we'll talk a lot more about it next month when it drops on September 6th for the Game Pass. And our next game here is Train Sim World 3. This is the newest entry into the series, and well, you guessed it, it's all about your experiences in operating trains, making deliveries, and planning out your own journey. Train Sim World 3 is a day one Xbox Game Pass release on September 6th. Now, a game that I've been watching for quite some months now. If you're a big fan of Metroidvania titles, Moonscars is a game that I'm excited to see come to Game Pass, and really from the jump, the visuals for me on this game really stand out. It's a 2D Souls-like combat Metroidvania with some really gorgeous combat animations, some insane bloody gore that really completely shifts the visuals. What's also interesting about this game is it's got a lot of hardcore mechanics involved, even to the point when your character dies, you're gonna have to fight a mirror of yourself just to get back your skills and powers, or potentially have to start all over. Dying can be very costly in this game, and I don't think this is a game that's going to be for the faint of heart. Moonscars drops on September 27th on Game Pass. So Grounded finally comes out of beta and early access. It's going to have its full release here on September 27th. If you guys have never dived into this unique multiplayer survival adventure title, this will certainly be the time, and we'll check out this game a little more in the coming weeks. And then we have Fallout 76 The Pit, the newest and major update. This is going to have you exploring the former city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's going to come with new missions, new rewards, and even NPCs to interact with for quests. This hits sometime in September. All right, guys, so we have a stacked October already, and I just want to mention October. I'm not going to go deep into these games, but one of my most anticipated games of this entire year, A Plague Tale Requiem, comes on October 18th. Another title that I'm really looking forward to is High on Life. This comes October 25th, and there's already 6 total games confirmed for October, so we have some stacked months ahead of us for Game Pass users, and of course I'll talk a lot more about those games next month. And finally, guys, the biggest blow of lost games to come to Game Pass in a while, leaving August 31st with some very notable titles like Elite Dangerous, Hades, NBA 2K22, 2 Point Hospital, and World War Z. There's a couple other titles there, but man, these are some good games. And as always, you can purchase these games before they leave Game Pass for a 20% discount. Make sure you guys also click the videos on the screen if you want to know the best games on Game Pass to play today.